Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have you join us for our second episode of The Buzz. I'm your host, Mya Nobles, coming to you from the 251 where we make our students' voices heard. Joining us will be a group of panelists from your local schools. Let's see what they have to say. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Mya Nobles, and please welcome our junior panelists from Baker High School, Valerie, Kyra, Brandon, and Darren. Today we're going to be discussing problems that teens face today. Let's start with toxic relationships. Toxic relationships are defined as any relationship where the partner is either physically or emotionally damaging to the other partner. And a lot of people are very familiar with the physical abuse in relationships, but not that many people are aware of the emotional abuse in relationships with teenagers. Do y'all have any insight on this topic?
I think they're actually aware of it. They just call it something else. They don't identify as emotional abuse. Like they call it cuffing. They're like, oh, I'm going to cuff this person. Or they tend to be controlling, but like not as like it's not really noticeable, I guess you can say. So like, so if I like a picture on Instagram, my girlfriend doesn't like that, and then she gets mad at me. I feel like that's really controlling, and I feel like that's kind of somewhat abusive on a lower scale. Emotional abuse, it's such a wide scale, so no one can really know how to identify it. So
yeah, and now we say instead of emotional abuse, we call it like power. You want some guys and girls also want power. So it's not one gender wants it above one. It's that this person wants this person to think I'm above you, so you need to do what I'm telling you, what I want you to do.
Wow, that's true. Did y'all know that 67% of internet users in relationships admit that their partners require them to share their social media passwords? Do y'all think that this signifies that this is a close and healthy relationship, or do you think that it leads to unhealthy relationships and behaviors?
You go. I think that it can lead to unhealthy because like when they ask for the password, then it's a sign that there's not like trust, because if you trust your partner, then you know that they wouldn't do anything that they shouldn't be doing behind your back. So I feel like it's just all about trust, and if you don't give them that trust, or if they violate that trust, then that can lead to something else.
Well, some believe that sharing passwords with the other partner proves that they're more open and genuine and honest with each other. Do y'all think that this is true? Do y'all agree or disagree?
I disagree because, I've been in a relationship where, like, they thought that I was supposed to give them my password to my social media, and I was just like, that's weird, you know? My social media is for my social media, and your social media is for your social media. Why do you have to see what's going on with me? If you don't trust me, then...
So you think it's like not distrust and being controlling?
Yeah, it is being controlling, actually.
Well,
it is.
I kind of disagree, because say if you were married, and you're just going out of the teen perspective, what if you were married and your girlfriend, your wife wants the key to your house? It's kind of the same thing. So if you give it to them, then it lets them know, I have nothing to hide. It's not just the trust, it's that I'm putting myself out there just so you know that I'm not doing anything and I'm here for you.
Do you think that this leads to unhealthy habits of teens actually doing those behaviors? Because a teenage relationship and a married relationship is not the same thing. So do you think that that would be like unhealthy for us to try to mimic married relationships?
oh yeah, certainly, for sure. I feel like if you start like in a controlling relationship in like your teenage years, you're definitely going to be controlling when you're married, for sure. It's just, I don't think you can change like that between an actual teenage relationship. And people change. You never know. Everybody's different, but.
I guess I'll have to be the outlier because my parents are high school sweethearts. So like they started in high school and they worked their way up and they're still married. So I guess it's easier for us to start early because we absorb that because our brains are still developing.
I see what you're saying. Well, jumping back to physical abuse, did y'all know that nearly 1.5 million high school students nationwide have experienced physical abuse from their partner? How do y'all feel about this? Have y'all witnessed this in your school?
I've never really witnessed physical abuse as much as emotional abuse. I see emotional abuse all the time, and that's just, you always hear drama going on. It's just high school stuff. There's all that drama going on. But I don't really hear physical abuse that much, honestly. I feel like I definitely hear more about adults than teenagers, for sure.
Do you think that a lot of our peers that maybe experiencing physical abuse are just afraid to let people know, or do you think that is just not a problem in our society?
I mean, there's any kind of physical abuse is definitely a problem, I think, but I think it's a mixture of both. I think either I think it's at the low rate of physical abuse, but the people who are getting physically abused, they're not telling people. Yeah. I think that's definitely an issue.
Scared,
yeah.
Well, I think it's because, like, you know, physical abuse is more taboo than emotional abuse. Like, we have normalized emotional abuse in our society. Like, we think that it is okay for our partner to be controlling. Like, do y'all agree or disagree?
Yes,
I think it's okay for a partner to be somewhat controlling because I think it leads to healthy. I think it's healthy for partners to be somewhat paranoid about you because they actually care about you. But to a certain extent, I think they don't like a girl or say I have a girlfriend and she wants to know where I am every single second of the day when I'm not with her. I think that's too much. But like if she texts me like, "Hey, where you at? What are you doing?" It's fine. Like.
yeah, but it's the difference between caring and being controlling.
Yeah, for sure.
Controlling is nothing like caring. Being paranoid about your partner, I mean, that's something that's like caring. That's not controlling. But knowing where they are every single minute of the day, what are you doing? Like, just blowing me up, like, every minute. It's crazy.
I think that people have lost, like, in a way, like, the perspective of it because, like you said, now they see it as more normal. Oh, like, you know, he cares about me when he's controlling. I feel like a lot of, like, teenage girls, like, talking about, like, the physical abuse and abusive and emotional abuse, they're sometimes scared because, like, if your partner is abusing you, then if you say or if you tell somebody else, then they're going to find out eventually. And then you're also, like, scared that they're going to do it again to you. So I feel like that's what also, like, limits them telling people about it.
Well, thank y'all for sharing your opinions, and we'll be back. Or when we come back, our panelists will be sharing their thoughts on rape culture. Welcome back to The Buzz. We are now moving on to our next topic, rape culture. Rape culture is defined as a society or an environment who have tendencies to normalize or trivialize rape tendencies of sexual assault and abuse. Do y'all think that this is a relevant topic in our society?
Yes, it really is. I mean, you hear it all the time. Like, what first thing comes to mind for me is definitely college, like college parties. It's definitely controversial because alcohol comes into the whole, like, they were drunk, it's not their fault, but also, like, oh, it is their fault because, I mean, they're them. I mean, it's definitely a relevant topic for sure.
So hearing the saying, boys will be boys, how do you think that this belief affects our society?
I think that for boys, I feel like they're just like, oh, you know, guys are allowed to, I don't know, to, like, try to touch on girls or, like, try to do stuff to the girls because they're guys, because they're hormone. That's such, like, a misconcept because, like, especially with all the stuff that's going on with rape, they're like, oh, girls shouldn't dress like that. Yeah. They should take care of themselves. And I agree to that to a certain extent. Like, yeah, girls shouldn't, you know, go out in, like, super inappropriate clothes, but guys should also learn to control themselves and to respect. And if they would learn that, then there wouldn't be as much rape.
Well, jumping off of what you said about girls wearing things, the way that girls dress and inciting rape culture, do you think that the dress codes in our schools have encouraged rape culture in our society for teenagers? Like how they say that girls can wear certain things, and it's obviously very more strict for girls than it is for boys. Do you think that encourages rape culture?
I don't think rape culture really encourages it. I think that I don't have a problem. I can't speak on it because I'm a guy. I'm not a girl, so I can't dress. I don't wear girl clothes and all that. But so I think the main reason why we got rid of the skirts here at Baker is because girls were wearing them up to their we could see
belly button.
Yeah, we could. It was really short. Okay, we could see some stuff, and it's got too extreme. There's a point where she says, okay, that's a little, you're revealing a little too much. So I feel that when girls talk about, oh, well, I can wear what I want, it gets to, you can wear what you want, but don't be like show everything. It's just it's distracting because your butt is hanging out sometimes, or your shorts and like that. Of course, it's gonna be distracting to anyone.
So do you think that if they are wearing these exotic clothing or showing a lot of skin, that validates them being sexually assaulted?
Assaulted?
No.
Not at all.
It doesn't. I mean, you're free to wear whatever you want to wear. Even if you wear something that's barely there. There's no reason a man or a boy should sexually assault you. There's no absolute reason.
But in our mind, when in a guy's mind, when a girl shows off her body and or skin, a lot of skin, it tells the guy, well, maybe she wants it, or maybe it's not wants it, but maybe she has experienced it, not rape, but experienced a sexual. She's been in a sexual relationship or has done sexual things. So maybe she's open to it. So when you get to the point when she says no, then you're like, okay, maybe it's like play or foul play or something like that. You don't understand. Okay, the skin doesn't actually. That's not her actually speaking. That's just something she gets on. You know.
I mean, I think there should be no way. If no means no, it doesn't matter if it's like I don't care if it's no means no. I mean, if a girl told me no, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Like I don't think there's any excuse saying like, oh, she said it playfully. We're just whatever. She's wearing this. I think it's fine. There's no excuse for that kind of stuff, for sure.
Well, going off of what Darren said, females are actually more likely to be defined by their sexual behavior and sexual history, and that leads to slut shaming. Do you think that this is a result of rape culture, or is this just a result of double standards, or both?
I guess it could be both, but mostly double standard because just because of what she's wearing does not mean that she's a slut, quote unquote. But that could mean she probably has good style. Just because you like to wear a skirt doesn't mean that you are a skirt doesn't mean you are a slut. Or just because it's short doesn't mean this and that. It's just your interpretation of what you see.
Kara, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think, especially with rape culture, it's just a lot of factors that factor in it. Like I said earlier, the main thing is alcohol. I think alcohol, especially at parties where there's a bunch of, especially at college or even high school parties, people will always drink in high school. It's dumb. But I think especially with short clothing, I'm not saying short clothing is the main factor. I think it's just the situation. It's all situational, and also the person, too. I think alcohol, short clothing, hormones flying. I think that's just that's the main factor to rape culture. I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm saying that's definitely a factor into what happens in these situations, for sure.
Statistically, 98% of reported rapes are true, and only 2% are not true. And you can see, in our current events, that a lot of the victims are getting blamed or are not believed. So, do you think that if something if an unfortunate incident happened in your school, do you think that the victim will be taken seriously, or do you think that people would not believe them? Like a lot of people in our society don't believe the current accusations against other people.
Well, in high school, it all depends on who the person is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's high school.
If it's a popular person,
if it's a popular person that everybody knows, if they know she's wild, then they're not gonna believe her. Mm-hmm. If she's an innocent girl, then they probably would believe her. But if she's lame, they probably won't believe her. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you pick and choose who you want to believe.
And it depends on the person who they accuse as well.
Yeah. So if that guy is known and popular, like if he's on the football team or something, and he's really good, they're probably not going to believe the girl. They want to believe the guy because they want to see him succeed more than they want to see her succeed. So.
And I think that's a major factor too. Especially when they're on the team or any high status, they're going to try to cover up any kind of high power. I've noticed that a lot too. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your opinions, and we'll be right back after the commercial break, and our next topic will be on irrational expectations on relationships. Welcome back to The Buzz. Okay, I know all of us are pretty familiar with the hashtag must be nice or hashtag relationship goals, but how realistic are these relationships that we see on social media, and do they lead to irrational expectations on teenage relationships?
Yeah, for sure. So I was in a relationship last year around Christmas time. It was around this time, and the girl was like, last year my friend's boyfriend got her $300 worth of gifts, and I was like, okay, no, listen, I don't have that kind of money, first of all, and second of all, it's a high school relationship. I'm not trying to spend that much money on you. I might break up with you in 3 months, see how this goes. So it's for sure it creates a relationship irrational thoughts or goals that we can't reach, for sure, or it's too much to reach.
Yeah, I can relate.
So when you see like relationships on Instagram and things like that, do you think that people are trying to mimic those relationships on social media?
It depends, because sometimes whenever you see a picture, you're like, oh, it must be nice. But then also you don't know what's behind that picture. So like you don't know what's going on behind like closed doors and stuff. So like they may, like Instagram, it's like a good example. Whatever you post on your feed, it's like, oh, you having a good time, you with your friends and stuff like that, or you with your boyfriend. But behind closed doors, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if they're struggling and stuff like that. So it does put that false, like, goals that people need to reach just because of that one picture.
So you think that people put on a separate face on Instagram and Snapchat and things than what they are in real life?
I do that all the time. I'm guilty of that. I'll be like, I think, okay, for homecoming, I had an awful time at homecoming, but I posted a picture of me smiling at homecoming. I was like, something about a great time at homecoming. No, it was not a great time. But I just wanted to make myself look good, so I definitely posted something on there. Made it like I don't know, I do that. I'm guilty of that for sure.
So do y'all think the irrational body standards placed on teenagers by social media are linked to how teens have irrational expectations for their relationships as well because of social media? Like, do you think that you can compare them together?
Yeah. They both set standards and goals. Like, if I see a guy working out on Instagram, he's no shirt on, he's ripped. I'm like, okay, I need to work out. And I never got to do it anyways. But it's the same thing for relationships. If I see a guy like make a message out of candles, and he throws rocks at her window, little pebbles, like, come look at your window. It's like, and girls like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. I'm just like, I need to do that, but I never do it anyways. But.
They make, you guys know those couple posts, those couple Instagram things? Yeah. Those just get me. Like, the girl send them to me on Instagram, and she's like, oh, I like this, I like that. Oh, you should do this for me. I'm like, oh my God, okay. So I'll send them these before I block you. And it's just like, and they have like over 1 million likes on that picture. And it's just like, it's a standard that people want to meet. Oh, I have to get it like this. And if I don't get it like this, and it's just not perfect. Well, one, we all can't be perfect, and it's impossible to be perfect. You're gonna have flaws in your relationship, and you just have to live with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate because my last relationship that I was in, like Darren said, nothing's perfect, but in my opinion, it was perfect to me. But there were some standards that I feel like, like me and that person had to live up to. But our relationship was fine. And then the relationship that I'm in now, I expect this person to do what that person did. Yeah. Like, that person used to spoil me all the time, give me attention all the time,
So you think that these irrational expectations for relationships are not just from social media, they can also be from, like, things that you see in real life?
Yeah, I can see, like, I see this all the time, like, if a couple's in a relationship and their friends are in a relationship as well, they'll battle each other and see who's better. Even I see, like, there's always movies and stuff like that about, like, adults trying to do that, and, like, the double date thing. It's like, it's teenagers and adults do it too, so.
And sometimes you do it unconsciously, like, without being aware that you're trying to, like, because, you always try to be, like more, like, the better person, one step up. Even if you won't try to deny it, you always, want to get to that. And I feel like it's like that with you by yourself, and also with a relationship. You want everybody to be like, oh my God, they're so cute together. Oh my God, did you see what he got her and stuff like that. So I feel like that just pushes us to do more things.
And do you think social media does, like, encourage this behavior? Because 42% of internet users admit that they feel jealous if their friends receive more likes than they do. So do you think that this desire and pressure to obtain likes, like, kind of put pressures on the relationships?
I don't really care about likes, so
I
can answer that.
I kind of care about likes. It's social media. I've grown up with it, so it's like it's a part of me that I want to like. Yeah. So I want to show off. So like, say if I hang out with my friends, I want to show off. I care about that like. So I try to show off and make myself look better than, like I said earlier, try to make myself look better than I really am. So I feel like that would really come into relationships. These couples are going to post on Instagram saying, oh, like they're proposing at this, like, say, like, Christmas party and, like, all, like, happy and all that. But, like, underlying, they're not going to look good. Like, there's nothing's going on.
Do you think that it's unhealthy to want to post every person that you have a relationship with?
Oh, my God, yes. Okay. So, there was this dude that was trying to talk to me, and we only talked for, I think it was like a week, and he was like, post me on your story, and I was like, I don't know that, and it's like, I feel like it leads for other people to have certain expectations when they go into, like, a new relationship, like, oh, you have to post me so that people know that you're with me and then that you're mine, and I feel like it leads to that kind of sense, but, and I just think it shouldn't be that way, because it's, it's your life and you can share as much of it as you want. But if the whole world knows what you're doing, then that leads to like more problems, because then they're like, well, she posted it, so I can like comment on it or opinionate on her like relationship and things like that.
My mom and dad post their prom picture, I think, a few months ago when I was going to homecoming, and I liked it. I was looking at it, and I was like, man, I just wish me and my girlfriend can be high school sweethearts, because everyone wants to be with their high school boyfriend or girlfriend and want to be married one day, if you guys are having a relationship like that. So like that desire that I have can sometimes put pressure on the relationship, because I'm like, okay, I need to fix this, it has to be right. If it's not right, then I'm going to like break down. So like it has to be done now or never.
Well, again, thank you. I'm your host, and I would like to thank my panelists, Valerie, Kyra, Brandon, and Darren, for joining me in our discussion. And I would like to have a special thanks to our audience for listening. Until next time, bye.